It's their journey, not yours. That's the title that I wanted, where I'm going to answer someone's question. And they asked me if I would make a video on not believing everything that you see or you read on social media, and also not giving yourself a diagnosis based off of a video. And I thought this was so great because I know almost all of us have been there, where we're watching a video or we're reading something or we're listening to a podcast and someone is sharing a story and our brain makes it about us. And first of all, that's very normal. It just means we're a human being and we hear a story and our brain thinks like, whoa, what if that happened to me? And you know what's funny though, to me, we don't get spooked when we get lost in our imagination about something good. And that's just what our personal mind, which is another way to say our brain, it does. It's just always sharing its opinion, narrating our experience, kind of making things about us. We don't kind of seek therapy or coaching or counseling on that because those thoughts come, they come to life in our imagination and then they go and they don't get stuck. We don't make a big deal of them because we don't really have too much on them. We have our daydream, our imagination, and it goes. But when it's more, I don't want to picture that happening to me, but that doesn't have to be the case because one, when you understand, you might have seen those memes of it's like me remembering positive memories and someone's like writing it into the sand and it's washed away, and it's like me remembering negative memories and they're like etching it into stone. Our brain's job is to keep us safe, not to keep us happy. And so it's going to remember negative things more because that was so helpful for us to survive as a species. Another reason why us imagining positive things about positive stories we hear just floats away, but we can sometimes remember the negative ones. But that doesn't have to be the case. How do we not believe everything we read or see on social media? And how do we not give ourselves a diagnosis? And this person shared that on a TikTok, a lot of people post about what's going on with them and their diagnoses. And this person said they automatically assume, oh, that's what's wrong with me. And they said that, they saw a video about a girl and it terrified them and they had an intrusive thought, what if that happens to me? What if that's how I see things? And I just wanted to, which I know I said, say that's really normal. And when we can see that that's predictable, we don't have to think, oh, now I should imagine, what am I going to do if that happens to me? What if that is my diagnosis? What if that's what's wrong with me? We can start to understand that when we see a video that's negative or positive, our brain imagines what we would do. When you can see it's predictable, it's like, oh, well, if this is making me feel anxious, and in the case of this person, it's like, I felt terrified. We know our thinking is going to be distorted. So if it's distorted, you don't want to give it energy. You don't want to waste your time thinking, what am I going to do if that happens? What if that is what's happening with me? What if that is my diagnosis? You can know, hey. When you feel terrified, it's waking you up that you're scaring yourself with your imagination. Fear is a gift. We want fear. We want to be able to, our feelings are a gift. They let us know if our thinking is serving us. So we want to be able to feel pain. We want to be able to feel fear. We want to be able to feel whatever, because people that can't feel pain, they are more at risk. And so in the example of if you were filling up your bath, I take a bath every night. I always stick my hand in to see what's the temperature like. Am I going to like the temperature? And if it's boiling hot, that's going to let you know, I got to let it cool off. So when you feel terrified, that's letting you know, hey, leave your thinking alone. You don't need to answer or indulge your imagination thinking about what if that happens to me. So when you can see that, you can know, oh yeah, you know what? Sometimes I make things about me. I think that's about me. That's pretty predictable. So I'm just going to leave my thinking alone. And I just had so much compassion for myself. But I know that I don't want to get my guidance from an anxious state of mind. That if there's something to see, you'll see it, but not when you feel terrified, not when you feel anxious. That just lets us know our thinking is distorted and it's not to be trusted. Another thing, I guess kind of wrapping up that first point, it's their journey. When you're watching something or reading something, knowing it's their journey, not yours. Yeah, and sometimes I make it about me. But if I feel anxious, hands off, I'm going to leave my thinking alone. It's distorted, temporary, and it changes all on its own. Same if you're reading something, we can make it about us. We can make it about our loved ones, and knowing that's enough. And also, you might start to have a completely different experience about imagining things. I remember a couple of years ago, I was listening to a podcast and a woman had gradually was losing her sight. She was going blind. And I remember having the thought, what if that happened to me? But it wasn't a terrified one. But I was more curious of how would I bring my kids to school and what would my life be like? And then the next feeling was I'd figure it out. I just had this knowing that I would adapt. It's hard to even put into words. It was just like, oh, I'd figure it out, because human beings, we are so good at dealing with what is. We struggle trying to deal with what isn't. And what isn't is anything that's outside of what's happening right now. What isn't is our imagination. So how to not believe everything you read or you see. It's more, how do you not believe everything you think? And it's really like, believe your thinking when it wishes you well. Believe your thinking when it comes with a good feeling, whether it's a neutral feeling or a positive feeling. And honestly, if you are feeling anxious, terrified, and afraid, your thinking is distorted and not to be trusted. But it's not a problem, because if when you understand, oh, my thinking's really distorted, I'm just going to leave it alone. The great thing is our thinking changes all on its own. And when we settle down, then we really know. Our wisdom, it always comes with a good feeling. Our wisdom, it's quiet, it's never urgent, it's never judgmental. And that's really where you can get your guidance from. I had a client, actually, we were talking last week, and what I think something that would hold her up was she would do this too. If she heard a friend talking about something or if she watched a TikTok video, she would sometimes spiral. And she was like, why do I do this? And she'd said that a couple times, and I asked her if she thought that was helpful. And I think thinking, why do I do this? Why can other people watch stuff or read stuff and they don't get anxious about it? They don't make it about themselves. I don't think that's really helpful. But you know, I don't want you to tell you anything. But I don't think judgment, it's not helpful, because then, one, we get anxious about something, and then we add on an extra layer of suffering, of judgment, when it's fine. I bet my kid's father, if he saw the video of the cruise, he wouldn't think twice. I did, but it didn't cause me much distress, because I was like, oh yeah, sometimes I can see a video and fall into a habit of worry, but I don't have to take it seriously. And then it doesn't have to really negatively impact me. It can be there, but I don't have to like hop on board and give it more attention than it deserves. So I hope this was a helpful conversation. Let me know.